since I started this broadcast. If I get it wrong, I will lead with my mistakes. I'm not sure that we got this story entirely wrong, but it appears that some of this story is wrong. Last week, the Blaze and this radio program featured stories about an Ohio resident named Brenda Hawk and her battle against AEP, the local power company. And for months, they were trying to install a smart meter, and she doesn't want a smart meter. When she was on this program, she said to me that she had asked the sheriff on the scene if they were there to protect her rights. And he allegedly responded, "No, I'm here to protect them," referring to the utility workers. The details of Hawk's struggle to keep her electricity and not be saddled with a smart meter sparked a public outcry that also got the Ohio governor's office involved. Less than 3 hours after the story hit the Blaze, power to Hawk's home was restored. When she was on this program, I think about a week ago, and she told me the actions of the sheriff, I wondered why this sheriff was even elected. What is this sheriff? Who is this sheriff? And I said, if any sheriff behaves this way, I will lend my voice in a campaign against a sheriff like that in the next election. And we need to support the good sheriffs, and we need to make sure the bad sheriffs are out. The sheriffs are our last line of defense. They are our friends or our greatest enemies. I said on the program at that time to the Blaze that they needed to look into the sheriff of Allen County. His name is Sam Krish. And there was just a story that was issued this morning because we have been working on this story all week. And the writers at the Blaze and the initial writer, Michael Opelka, who wrote this story in the first place, said, Glenn, I talked to him last night. I think you need to have him on because I think the story's not entirely as we presented it in the first place. And he said, I think this guy actually turns out to be a good guy. I don't know. I haven't talked to the sheriff myself, but we're going to do that now. Sheriff Krish is on. Hi, Sheriff. How are you, sir?
Good, and you?
I'm very good. Can you clear up what we may have had wrong or that we don't understand about this story?
Well, let me just real quick go back to 2002, just kind of lay some groundwork. I won't go into great detail, but in 2002, we were called out to Brenda Hawk's residence. They had some workers doing trimming some trees for AEP.
Right.
There was an altercation where she took a slingshot. She shot rocks at the workers. She then went in and got a black-powered rifle and fired the rifle towards the workers. So that's basically what took place in 2002.
Probably not the best idea.
She actually shot at them, Sheriff?
Yes, and there was question to whether or not it was a black powder rifle, but whether or not there was if it was actually loaded or not. Or
what were the workers there to do?
They were actually there just trimming the trees.
Why did she? What was her problem with that?
They were trimming the trees because you know how the trees have the power lines. It was deep into her property, and she didn't like that.
Okay.
And so the story she told us on the air was they came, and then she went to court, and she had the right of easement transferred. She didn't tell us about a slingshot, and she certainly didn't tell us about loading any gun, even a black powder gun. And shooting at anybody that's kind of some critical information.
Was she charged with anything?
Yeah, it was actually initially wrote up as a felonious assault, which was a felony, but it didn't go as a felony. So it actually, the charge of aggravated menacing and assault was filed. She was ultimately found guilty of aggravated menacing. The assault was, she was found not guilty. She was given a $10 fine, 30 days in jail with that 30 days being suspended.
Okay.
So that happened in 2002. So
critical information.
So that brings us up to just the recent call on the 8th when we were there. And that's why we were there, is because of the situation that happened in 2002 was not a good situation. So we go out there. We're contacted by AEP prior to them arriving and requesting us to assist them to go to her residence, so there's no problems. So our purpose of going there on the 8th, it was just to make sure everybody who's involved is safe. So we get there, or the deputy gets there. they have the conversation about she doesn't want the smart meter. She wants us to leave. The deputy, when he arrived, I need to back up a minute. When he arrived, he tells Miss Hawk that he's there as a mediator, and that's what his purpose is, not to do anything with the meter, but other than the safety of everybody involved. So there's a conversation back and forth that she needs this smart meter, that they're going to change it. If they don't change it, they're going to turn her power off. She tells us that she doesn't want us there. We ultimately leave. The power is turned off.
Okay, now she tells us about the story that she had written the power company. She was waiting for a response. They wouldn't respond to her. I mean, I personally, if you don't want the power meter, the smart meter, you are going to have to replace your power, because in the end, the power company is going to say that they have to spend extra money, et cetera, et cetera. But she has a medical issue, she claims, and was waiting for the power company to respond. They did not respond to her, according to her.
Yeah, and I'm not aware if she has been in contact with them. She may have. I guess my position, when they're there and she's making the statement that she has a medical condition, that she needs the electric, she's waiting for some kind of a guarantee that it's not going to affect her pacemaker, and I don't know what her medical condition is. But just with that information, and the power should have never been turned off.
Mm-hmm.
They should have just regrouped and said, we're going to look at a different avenue.
So was there a problem with the deputy not saying, guys, I don't know anything about this? I mean, really, honestly, you know what it is, Sheriff? It's like, you ever see the movie Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Where they're like, do not turn off the grid. And the guy and the cop is like, I don't know if we should turn off the grid or not. And the EPA guy is like, turn it off. And so he has to turn it off. Shouldn't your deputy have said, I'm not sure if we should turn this off?
Well, I talked to the deputy after the whole incident, and with the fact that if by turning that power off, if something would have happened to her, we all would have been held responsible,
right,
because we were standing there and they're saying that they're going to turn the power off. So he, after speaking to him, he understands that. But in his defense, he's going there to make sure that nothing happens.
Yeah.
Is any kind of physical altercation.
Yeah.